Hello there and welcome to CNR Extra on CCTV, coming to you live from our studios at number 5, Ola Hansen Lane, Tesano, Accra. My name is Philip Ni Latte. Coming up. Energy Minister disappointed with the Electricity Company of Ghana over its failure to meet its revenue mobilization targets.
I would like to know when they finish the program, how much they've been able to collect, and why they were not able to collect probably 80% of the bill. I don't believe in success factors we cannot all clap to.
President Akufo-Addo announced his comprehensive housing program will be commissioned soon to deal with Ghana's rising housing deficit.
Government, through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and the Lands Commission, has embarked on an ambitious urban renewal program aimed at redeveloping prime areas in major cities across the country.
Basis 2 Paramountcy in the Greater Accra region issues 6 months ultimatum to persons occupying Basis 2 lands legally to surrender them.
Basis 2 lands which are in wrongful hands or illegally acquired will be surrendered to the Basis 2 Paramountcy without fail.
And later on, CNR Extra, host of Eyewitness News on City FM and face-to-face on City TV, Umaru Sanda Ahmad wins City TV and City FM's internal writing contest organized by management of the company on the station's just ended Heritage Month celebration.
What to remember you is what you write that people remember you for. So you better learn how to do the writing properly, because it's, again, when you write, you have the opportunity to be corrected.
Once again, you're welcome to CNR Extra here on City TV. We are live on YouTube as you stream there on CityTube, and you can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via WhatsApp line 0204447033. Jude Mensah Duncan, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing very well.
How is the week treating you?
I mean, it's been a very exciting week. A lot of news, interesting news here and
Interesting news with the ECG doing.
Yeah.
And let's bring the very first story, and that has to do with the Electricity Company of Ghana. Well, the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, was with the team yesterday. Let's bring you that insert.
Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh has expressed dissatisfaction with the Electricity Company of Ghana's failure to meet its revenue mobilization target. The company met less than 80% of its set target in a one-month revenue mobilization exercise. It was able to recover 2 billion Ghana cedis. The Energy Minister joined the National Task Force on the field in order to gather first-hand experience and to listen to concerns of ECG customers. Addressing the media, the sector minister urged all customers to endeavor to pay their bills in order to keep the lights on. Now, City News says Fred Duho has been with the task force monitoring the exercise, and he joins us with more. Fred, kindly give us the details of the exercise.
This is the very first time I am personally seeing this high-level delegation from ECG as far as the Energy Ministry is also concerned. Don't forget, when we started, that was on the March 20th, we've been in the company of the task force, we've been to Tema, we've been to other parts of the country following up on some SLT customers, SLT being the special load tariff consumers of the Electricity Company of Ghana. So we've been in their company. A number of companies were disconnected for non-payment, and this particular exercise is either you pay or you are disconnected. It's as basic as that. They are taking no excuse for power consumed that the customer hasn't paid for. They believe that over the period, the debt that has accumulated on their books has been too huge, and that is also crippling their operations. So taking up the initiative to embark on this national exercise, they believe that they've been able to recoup some significant amount of money. One, to settle their debtors being the IPPs, which are the independent power producers, and also to ensure that other producers within the value chain are also sorted out, as well as the task force that are also embarking on this exercise. When the exercise ends tomorrow, we are hearing or learning from the managers that the exercise is not going to end totally. They believe they're going to institute some form of operation that would from time to time go around to also basically collect revenue.
When ECG began this program, I always communicated to the management that I'll demonstrate our support for this program by physically visiting one or two entities with them. And that is what I've done today, and probably I'll do on Friday.
You've been receiving briefing from the task force, every now and then. What have they been sharing with you? Has the exercise been successful? What are the challenges they faced that they've shared with you?
The ECG, I think, said that the amount of money that they intend to collect or has not been paid over a certain period was over 5 billion. I would like to know, when they finish the program, how much they've been able to collect and why they were not able to collect probably 80% of the bill. I don't believe in success factors we cannot all clap to. If they think the program has been successful, they must demonstrate it in how much they've retrieved. If not, what has caused their inability to retrieve it, and what plans are they having for subsequent visit.
And aside that, also take the opportunity to check the health of their meters and check the illegalities in the system that is contributing significantly to the system losses that the ECG has encountered over the period.
There shouldn't be some payers of electricity and others who are we call non-payers of electricity. Whether it's because the meter is not working, or it's because you are doing things, or you are using a meter not certified, or you are bypassing the ECG system. Who should pay for who to enjoy? We should all know that ECG is rendering such a vital service for all Ghanaians, especially in their zone, and everybody must prioritize paying electricity. We should really look back for when we were not enjoying electricity and we were all having generators. And if you'd like, all of you do a study. Switch off your ECG, prepayment system, don't pay for 1 month, and use generator for 1 month and compare the bills. Without energy, there is no economy. And everybody must pay. You can't want lights and shout if the lights are not on and you shout against government. And if lights are on, you say, I won't pay my bill.
So the Minister of Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has now arrived in the team of the ECG task force, as well as the top managers of ECG here at the premises of Coca-Cola. And this is a multinational company that also owes the Electricity Company of Ghana to the tune of about 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Hence, the minister is here basically to engage with management to find out why they've not been able to settle their indebtedness to the company. The minister has been speaking to the media.
ECG is going after companies that are stealing or bypassing or misbehaving. And I want to clear that erroneous impression. ECG is also taking advantage and visiting good companies that are doing regular payment, that need support necessarily for their work and encouragement, and also be shown as one of the companies that people should emulate.
So the 2020 exercise ruled out by the Electricity Company of Ghana to begin national revenue mobilization from the 20th of March to the 20th of April comes to an end tomorrow. And so far, what we are learning is that they've not been able to meet their target, and the minister is not really happy about that. But he's also hoping to get briefing from the Electricity Company of Ghana as to what probably went wrong. But what we know for sure is that the power distributor hopes to continue this exercise to curb the illegalities and the system losses. My name is Fredo, reporting from the premises of Coca-Cola for City.
The exercise also took place in the central region, and management in that region have been able to recoup some substantial amounts. Let's bring you that insert from that region.
City Company of Ghana has recouped 64 million cedis out of a total of 260 million cedis debt owed it by customers. The administration and masters bungalows of the Mfantsiman Secondary School, the Briwa Secondary Technical School, and the Capital Hotel in Cape Coast were disconnected from the national grid for Owen. The Mfantsiman Municipal Assembly, however, paid some of its debt and was spared. Central Regional Correspondent Calvin Stette has more in the following report.
The Electricity Company of Ghana in the central region, as part of efforts to collect monies owed them by customers, led by its general manager, Emmanuel Lumo, visited institutions, market centers, hotels, and some homes of individuals. According to the Power Distribution Company, their target is to recoup an amount of 260 million cedis being debt owed them by customers, but have managed to mobilize 64 million cedis. The company is, however, hoping to collect 50% of monies owed them. At the Mfantsiman Enclave, the Masters Bungalow and administration of the Mfantsiman Secondary School were disconnected from the national grid for failing to pay their bills. The Briwa Secondary Technical School were also not spared, as the administration and Masters Bungalow were disconnected. The Mfantsiman Municipal Assembly, however, were spared, as they paid an amount of 20,000 cedis out of 26,000 cedis owed the Electricity Company of Ghana. Some shops in the Sorpom Market Square were also not spared, as many were disconnected. Here is the Regional Commercial Manager, Simon Pabite Ajimani, speaking to the media about recouping monies owed them by customers.
Some of the Masters Bungalows there were owing so much. So we have to disconnect the Masters Bungalows that were owing, and then those that were spared were those who were able to pay their bills and then pay in full.
In the Kaswa Enclave, over 6 facilities, including households and shops, were also disconnected for mostly engaging in illegal connection, among other offenses. At a warehouse in Crispo City, shop owners were said to have bypassed the meter to engage in illegality. The offenses by the various customers visited varied, and here is what the Revenue Protection Manager, Emmanuel Fiado, who was team leader for the group in Kaswa, had to say.
Now the meter has been tampered with. It means the meter has been damaged. We'll have to change it after you pay. So you are going to pay for a new meter as well. Yes. So when you pay, we'll come and replace with a brand new meter. But on one condition, that you have done your wiring right.
At a point, the team schooled customers on ways of detecting illegalities on the meters.
It has a turquoise, that is the red line, the yellow line, and then the blue line. It all records simultaneously. So when we check with our arm meter, it's only the red face, which it corresponds with the arm meter. Arm meter is giving me 12.63 amps. And then when you check from the meter, this one is 12.70. So it corresponds. So when I go to the next phase, you see I'm having 15.9. And then on the meter, it's recording 0. So you can see power is flowing. But because they have tempered, that particular coil is not recording.
General Manager of the Power Distribution Company in the Central Region, Emmanuel Lumo, says some persons have been arrested and handed over to the police for prosecution since the commencement of the exercise.
You are not only stealing from ECG, it is affecting the whole nation. Power belongs to everybody. We've seen people coming in with illegal meters, selling to people. We are going to farm them out, make sure that once we get you, the law will deal with you.
The Electricity Company of Ghana in the Central Region says the exercise to check illegal connections, among others, will continue unabated. They are hoping that the exercise will in the end bring in some revenues. Carvis Tete, City News.
Still on power distribution, let's take you to the northern region where NEDCO has disconnected some facilities.
Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, has disconnected power supply to the zonal office of the Allied Health Professionals Council in the northern region. This happened on day 2 of NEDCO's revenue mobilization exercise in its operational areas. City News' Northern Regional correspondent Dinah Engwang has more in the following report.
The second day of the exercise took officials to the Northern Region Health Directorate, where the Allied Health Professional Council is located. The team, upon checks, noticed that the Allied Health Professional Council had tapped power illegally directly from the cables.
When we came, we realized that the Allied Health Sciences, they have connected direct and they have illegally bypassed the meter that they are using with the Ghana Health Service, the Regional Health Directorate. So the Regional Health Directorate, they are on the prepaid, they are paying for it. But the Allied Health Science section, they have bypassed the meter direct. So, and we don't know when they did it. They claim they did it some few weeks ago, but we will not be able to confirm that. So we will do our own investigation and then subject them to the process and make sure that the law will take its course. I mean, when you do illegal, just like any other customer, we have to analyze. We've picked the load, we have to analyze, and then we will recover by estimating their consumptions and ensuring that we'll bill them with it.
From there, they moved to the Judicial Service and the Economic and Organized Crime Office.
In our list, we had a Yoka account that we were following up on. But when we got there, we realized they have a prepaid meter and they are buying up to date. I think this month they did the purchase. So we agree with them that we will go and find out what really happened, because in our data system, our database, we have a lot of information. We don't know what happened. One customer can apply twice, it can be created. So we agree that we'll go and find out and really try to locate that particular Yoko account. So that's what has happened. That is why we are not disconnecting them. They are on prepaid and they are buying units. We are currently at the High Court premises of Tamale Metro. I think we engaged the staff, the officer in charge, and we realized that they made payment of 54,000 just last month. Okay, I think in February. Okay, so we realized that they have a plan of consistent payments. But it's not very good, but because they are committed to paying, we agree that we'll further engage them to fast track things. But they haven't been defaulting anyway.
How much are they owing?
Currently, I think the balance on the account is about 64,000, and that includes February and March. They haven't gotten 2 bills. So we are giving them 2 weeks to clear that, otherwise we'll come back and disconnect them.
Meanwhile, some affected customers, such as the Tamale College of Education, are currently running on generator services as a result of NEDCO's ongoing exercise. Here is the principal of the college, Dr. Suleimana Idrisu, speaking on the disconnection and its impact.
One of our offices where a meeting is happening, I was there. I left the place some 30 minutes or 1 hour ago when you came. We have had to put on a generator, and that comes at an additional cost. Whatever the situation may be, the cost of running a generator in an institution like this is far higher than tapping the source, the power from a major supplier like VRA. So that is it. And then I would say that because our students are not on the ground, the impact is not that great. That is not to say that there's no impact, because the halls of residence have all been disconnected and some of the classrooms So, but I do hope and pray that we'll be able to do something about this before school resumes. Yeah.
According to NEDCO, they will consider this exercise for a 1 month period to at least recover half of what is owed them. From Tamale, I am Dinah Ungwan, reporting for City News.
So the exercise took place in parts of the country, and it's ending today or tomorrow. And the managing director of ECG has made some relevant concerns about the exercise. He has tried addressing the concerns also raised by some consumers concerning metering system, concerning how there are fake meters in the system, amongst other things, and how the illegal connection shouldn't continue. They are also going to sustain the exercise by ensuring that their management or the team will do some metering, monitoring, or go in for the debt by the end of every month in the year. What will be your assessment of the exercise so far?
I mean, I would want to commend Mr. Samuel Dubik Mahama. I think he's done a very good job so far. It was expected to be difficult considering the nature of the job and considering the fact that so many people, I mean, from wealthy multinational companies to government agencies to private homes and businesses were part of this grand scheme of evading the payment of electricity bills. So it was always not going to be an easy task, but he took it upon himself, and they've been quite, you'd want to say they've been quite efficient to an extent. Of course, they've not met their targets. You understand, some 2 billion Ghana cedis have been raised. But think about it. This is money that would have otherwise been left like that had this campaign not be intensified by the ECG. So I want to commend Mr. Samuel Dubik Mahama. I think there's a lot more they can do, and his team. I mean, Madam Techiwa, who's a PR for the Tema region, and of course Leila, and all those other technical people and officials of the ECG who are doing the behind the scenes work, the men on the ground who go from office to office trying to retrieve these funds. Watching our energy minister over there, I mean, not too long ago, we saw the broadcast of a hugely promoted documentary from the energy ministry dubbed Keeping the Lights On. And for me, I thought he had an opportunity to tell a story and what the successes have been so far since assuming the role of energy minister some 2 years ago. I mean, Philip, I didn't understand really why he had to be on the tour, joining the delegation, retrieving the funds.
I think it gives some morale to the team, because if you have the highest of the top hierarchy on the team, and he also goes around with the team, it gives you some backing. Besides, Samuel Dubik Mahama has said that he has the backing of the government, that is the president, of his boss, that is the energy minister, and some big wigs in the space. And I think that if you should have Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh on the team, it tells you one thing, that you have my full backing to go out there and collect the money from our debtors.
I mean, that is true to a very large extent. I mean, if you follow the reportage on the Nkusita newspaper for some time now, almost every other day you'd see a front page story of the ECG being out there. I mean, we understand from certain quarters that there are some internal wranglings ongoing here and there. For which reason, we'd see the energy minister himself lead a delegation like that. But my opinion is that I, to a very large extent, believe that Mr. Samuel Dubik Mahama is pretty much has this under control.
Dubik Mahama is not complaining either. I mean, okay with the fact that the energy minister was on board.
He's limited to what he can say. You wouldn't expect him to take certain fights. I'm sure he would want to choose his battles wisely. And Philip, I mean, take this from, there's no 2 ways. There's nothing really wrong with him being there. I'm only thinking that listening to him there, engaging the press after visiting some of these companies, I was not too clear what the intention really was. So in one breath, you find him sort of commending the work ECG has done so far. In another breath, you find him criticizing the work they've done, saying that I mean, why are they not getting their targets? Why is it not up to 80% as of now?
Boss. He has to still push them to reach the target.
Like I'm saying, fair game. But I felt that the documentary that was hugely popularized not too long ago, he had opportunity to tell the whole of the country what he as minister has been up to within the period. I'll expect that going forward, this sort of same energy we've seen him, because some people believe that, joining a delegation like the ECG appears very populist because of the fact that ECG is the talk of town now. Everybody's talking about what Mr. Mahama is doing there in terms of taking the fund. So I expect Napo, like we affectionately call him, to take the issue of Tor very seriously. Today in the news, we read that some workers are agitating over leadership and other issues that are coming up there. We've been told from the experts that if you are able to get Tor running efficiently, it's going to help in the long run how much money we spend at the fuel pump. So I expect him to also take up some of these things very seriously and in the hope that you are able to address energy challenges we find in the country.
That tells you that there are a lot of issues in the sector. The issue of Tor, the issue of power on and all that. But I'm sure government is taking it one step at a time. For instance, as ECG has moved out there to ensure that its debtors pay the monies that they owe the company. Away from electricity issues, let's bring you some more stories. And that has to do with the Basis 2 paramountcy asking that the people who have taken the Basis lands illegally should return them.
The Basis 2 paramountcy in the Greater Accra region has issued a 6-month ultimatum to persons occupying Basis 2 lands illegally to surrender them. The Basis 2 says there have been dubious and fraudulent means in disposing of the 2 lands, which have been declared null and void by the court. Speaking at the royal launch of the Basis paramountcy, the principal kingmaker of the Basis 2, Ni Okai Kasablofo, the fifth says his outfit would be compelled to use aggressive measures in recovering the lost lands after the ultimatum elapses.
The Gbese state has been in existence for over 550 years, and it is one of the 7 Gan states which constitute Gamashi. Gbese has 92 registered satellite towns since the pre-colonial era at the National Archives of Ghana, with 12 unregistered. Out of this figure, it is only 30% that is being superintended by the Basis 2 authority, with the rest converted into family, personal and corporate lands without the consent of the STU. The STU says this has been as a result of protracted chieftaincy disputes and litigations. Speaking at the launch of the Basis 2 paramountcy, the principal kingmaker of the Basis 2, Ni Okain Kasablofo V, announced a 6-month window to inhabitants of illegally acquired lands to surrender them to the STU, failure of which the STU would be compelled to use aggressive means in retrieving them.
The new Basis paramountcy wishes to re-echo that Basis 2 lands which are in wrongful hands or illegally acquired must be surrendered to the Basis 2 paramountcy without fail. And that after the amnesty of 6 months granted commencing 19th April 2023, which is today, no extension of the amnesty will be entertained, and that the Basis 2 paramountcy will pursue aggressive measures to retrieve or recover these lost lands, as to be stretched that there is no entity called Ghana Basis Board. And I repeat, it has to be stressed that there is no entity called Ghana Basis Board. And that was a measure which was taken to alienate or dispose of Basis 2 lands through dubious and fraudulent means. And that it has been declared null and void by the court.
He also announced plans by the STU to register market queens within the jurisdiction of the Gbese traditional area to enable them contribute their quota to the development of Gbese.
There are 40 or more markets on all Basis 2 lands with market queens on them. It is pathetic that these markets and their queens contribute cutting to the basis to its developmental needs. And that they should have a sober reflection on their actions and inactions. Otherwise, unprecedented sanctions will be applied to them.
So that's a good move by the basis to paramountcy, that if you are in possession of their lands and you took it illegally, you should return. But I think that some sort of round should be done. Visit the land one by, because I wouldn't want to return it. You are asking me to return it, and I know that I bought it legally. And you are telling me that it was illegally purchased. I don't know. So I think the stool has to do something more than just announcing to the general public that just return or surrender the lands.
If you listen to the principal kingmaker of the business stool, Neokai Kasablofo the Fifth, I mean, he made a very important, a very profound statement. So you get the impression that after what had been some sort of protracted litigations in various areas, it gave rise to people using very dubious and dishonest means to get these lands.
So they should solve the issue with the chieftaincy.
So exactly. So according to him, they've smoked the peace pipe, and now calm has returned, and they are in one mind. That's the stool as to how they should go about reclaiming their land. So for me, I think it's a fair call, and it highlights a very important issue about how protracted conflicts and litigation can derail the progress a community can make. Because come to think about it, if all of this litigations didn't exist, I'm probably sure that all of these lands that have ended up in wrong hands would have probably been developed now and would have been bringing in some really cool money or some good fortune for the stool. So I hope it's a learning curve for all of us, not necessarily only the business stool or other traditional leadership, that you see conflicts and litigations and protracted misunderstandings have a way of negatively affecting the progress we make. You get it? So, I mean, it's a call in the right direction. I hope that when the time comes or the ultimatum is reached, they'll use the means that the Constitution allows to reclaim this land.
So it's a 6 month ultimatum.
Exactly.
Hoping that the business will go according to what it has said. You are still watching CNR Extra here on City TV. Still to come. President Akufo-Addo announces comprehensive housing program will be commissioned soon to deal with Ghana's rising housing deficit. Stay with us. We'll be back with more stories.
Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back. This is CNR Extra on CCTV. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via WhatsApp line 0204447033. Let's take you to the Ashanti region, where some caterers, that is a school feeding caterers, have still not returned to work.
3 weeks after the reopening of schools, City News checks in public basic schools in the Kumasi metropolis of the Ashanti region show that caterers under the government school feeding program are still not cooking for pupils. This comes after the caterers announced their decision to withdraw their services following government's failure to pay them their arrears. The situation appears to have worsened the financial burden of parents who are urging the government to ensure the matter is addressed as early as possible. Ashanti Regional Correspondent Fatia Minu Ibrahim reports.
The head teacher of T.I. Ahmadiyya Kindergarten B, Mariam Adams, tells City News her school has since last term not been benefiting from the school feeding program because the caterer in charge of her school says she has not been paid for 2 terms, hence her refusal to cook.
Mine is from first term. My caterer stopped cooking from the first term. So the whole of the first term we didn't eat. And second term too, she has not been cooking for them.
So even before they went on strike for you, first time, no one that you didn't receive food?
I didn't. The children didn't eat from the caterer. According to her, she has not been paid and she cannot continue to borrow from the creditors. So she has stopped cooking for them. For attendance, we don't have problem with it because we've made the parents to know what is going on. So some have been cooking for them to come to school, and some too, they give their children money to buy.
More caterers laid down their tools at the beginning of the second term. Prior to the reopening of schools, caterers under the government's school feeding program in the Ashanti region massed up at the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council and petitioned the regional minister to intervene in ensuring that they are paid their arrears. The caterers are also demanding that the amount per student be increased from 97 pesos to 3 Ghana cedis. The caterers were, however, disappointed with the Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, on how he received them at the Regional Coordinating Council. While the caterers were accusing the regional minister of snubbing them, the regional minister justified his actions, insisting that they did not follow due process. Despite the back and forth and the fact that the matter has become topical as a result of the exchanges with the regional minister, the matter remains unresolved, although there have been assurances by the school feeding secretariat of paying the caterers. The caterers then expressed their resolve in withdrawing their services until they are paid, their arrears and the amounts be increased. During City News' visit to some schools in Kumasi on Wednesday, on 19th April 2023, some heads of schools stated that although the withdrawal of services by the caterers has not had any significant impact on the attendance of students, parents have been complaining about the financial burden it has brought on them.
Parents have been calling us to ask whether we have been eating. So we explained the situation to them and we advised them to give them enough money. Since we have a canteen here, they will buy food from the canteen. And others too, they prefer cooking for them to bring to school.
A parent who is worried about the situation has been speaking to City News on condition of anonymity.
Personally, I think if it is ongoing right now, if I'm to spend maybe 10 cedis a day, I could have spent 5 and then leave 5 for other issues. So I can say that I'm supposed to go to my full length as far as providing meals for them throughout the day is concerned. So in a way, it is also affecting me somehow. I think the government should do well to release funds to the caterers.
Now, according to heads of some basic schools in Kumasi, parents have been complaining that the refusal of caterers to provide food to pupils in schools is having a toll on their finances. They thus want the government to address the issue as early as possible. For Stinis, Fatih Amin Ibrahim, T.I. Ahmadiyya Cluster of Schools.
So a few days after the encounter with the Ashanti Regional Minister, that is school feeding caterers in the Ashanti region, they called off the strike.
Yeah.
But the checks indicate that they've not returned to work, or they are not cooking for the pupils. They're asking that the feeding grant should be increased from 97 pesos to 3 Ghana cedis.
I mean, Philip, these are some of the stories that break your heart as a Ghanaian. And for me, that is why I have a very serious problem when we have an education minister come to tell us that education under this government is the best that has ever been.
Don't you think we need a review of this feeding program?
Witness. I mean, true to a large extent. And you see, this particular story I'm talking about involves other stakeholders who all have roles to play. So, for instance, I mean, look at the disposition of the Ashanti Regional Minister when the story first came out. For me, in my opinion, was quite unfortunate. Now, you look at the Gender Ministry, where we believe who are responsible for
the program.
The program. Yes. And you recall, for a very long time, we didn't have a gender minister in this country. So, I mean, who was advocating for these caterers? Who was pushing their demands? So you get the impression that from the education ministry up onto the gender ministry, even the finance ministry, and if you want to localize this particular story, the Ashanti regional minister, I mean, all of them have not really played their roles very well in highlighting this very important issue of feeding in our schools. And Philip, you would recall not too long ago on the City Breakfast Show, when Bernard interviewed one of these caterers, and she was blatant in her responses. He says, see, we are NDC, we are MPP caterers.
Yeah.
And for me, exposes the complicity of not only the MPP, but the two major political parties in the country. Because at the end of the day, when the next political party comes, they're also going to bring their people. No regards to standards.
So the program has been politicized.
No regards to standards, no regards to hygiene, no regards to the competence of the caterer, and all it's about is just showing your party card. I mean, if you run a program with this under a so in the face. Who, to some extent, in here.
So I think it has to be reviewed. Please do, because the quality of food is woefully inadequate.
Now, President Akufo-Addo says to addressing
areas in major cities across the country, including the Kumasi Sector 18, Marine Drive Tourism Development Project, and the Takoradi Beach Road Redevelopment Scheme, amongst others.
Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abujinapo, whose ministry supervised the project, says such projects will be dotted across the country.
Today, with a population of over 30 million, it is important that we put our lands to optimal and judicious use. This is why the Urban Redevelopment Scheme is being implemented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources in partnership with the Lands Commission and the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority, LUSPA, to utilize such lands in a manner that will contribute to the socio-economic development of our country. This scheme is being implemented in areas such as Kumasi Sector 18, which comprises of Ridge, Danyame, and Inshiasu residential areas, Old Tamale Airport, Red Sector 1, 2, and 3 residential areas in Cape Coast, as well as the aviation city here in Accra.
The Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, on his part, assured of proper maintenance of the barracks.
Indeed, during the opportunity you give to me to be the Inspector General of Police, my colleagues and I vowed that we'll make our institution the best in the country and a reference point for Africa and beyond. And maintaining our facilities and bringing them to standard is one of the ingredients towards that. And a sign of it, as I have been alluded to, is the signs we are seeing at our headquarters. And we'll bring that same thinking and commitment of maintenance to this facility and all other police.
And it's a good step that government is providing decent accommodation for security officers. Well, it's going to boost their morale to work.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, Philip. When you have a police service that lives comfortably, then you know that, I mean, considering the fact that they put their lives in harm's way for our sake all the time, then you are assured of some level of discipline and some level of decency, really. It's when you expose them to very harsh conditions, then you get a lot more of instances of bribe taking and other activities.
Because they need to survive.
Exactly, which in itself is not a permission to do some of these things. So, Philip, but that notwithstanding, I mean, it's a great initiative from government. We need a lot more of this, not only for...
And as government pushes to bridge the housing deficit, they shouldn't forget the Saglami housing project.
I mean, we understand that one is being sold to a private developer now. We'll be following that one keenly. But on this one, I think it's a great step. It should be replicated across other security services. But for me, the highlight of the event was the MP for the area, Honorable Adwa Safo.
Oh, it belonged, you saw him.
Oh yes, sitting very close to the president like that. I mean, it was a nice sight to behold.
That's nice. Away from that story, we will bring you more story after this break, and you're still watching CNR Extra here. When we come back, the host of Eyewitness News on City FM and face-to-face on City TV, Umaru Sanda Ahmad will win City TV and City FM's internal writing contest organized by management of the company of the station just ended Heritage Month celebration. Stay with us, we'll be back with that story.
Anyone can become a household.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You Go Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated funds, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.yougoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. You Go Flip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
You're welcome back. Let's bring you that story where management of City FM and City TV organized an internal writing contest on the Heritage Month celebration, and our own Umaru Sanda Ahmadu won the competition. Let's bring you that inset.
Now, host of Eyewitness News on City FM and face-to-face on City TV, Umaru Sanda Ahmadu emerged winner of an internal writing contest organized by management of City TV and City FM on the station's just ended Heritage Month celebration. The competition was to whip up and sharpen the writing skills of staff, as well as highlight the various programs and experiences organized during the month-long initiative. At the end of the exercise, Umaru Sanda's piece was chosen as the most compelling among 6 selected articles written by journalists of the station. There is more in the following report.
The month of March had been christened by City TV and City FM as Heritage Month, purposely to celebrate Ghana's culture and heritage through tourism, music, indigenous food, among others. This year's month-long celebration was themed Make It Ghana and hinged on 3 strong pillars: tourism, investment, and film. There were various on-air series on City FM and City TV to help Ghanaians appreciate their history, culture, local songs, and food. Aside to the on-air series, other key initiatives championed during the Heritage Month were Heritage Caravan, a 7-day fun-filled road trip across 14 regions of Ghana, and Back to Your Village Food Bazaar. In view of this, the management of City FM and City TV organized a mini contest for its journalists. Even though the contest was aimed at promoting Ghana through the activities spearheaded by the company, it was also geared towards improving the writing skills of City TV and City FM journalists. Managing director of the station, Samuel Atamensa, gave reasons for the competition.
We always have our signature as Ghanaians wherever we go, and it's important that the space we find ourselves, you create a character of being Ghanaian by knowing what it takes to be a Ghanaian, understanding the footprints of Ghana, the culture, the people, the places, and the way things are done. So that's what is captured in this Heritage Month. But we took a step beyond celebrating it to get people within our midst to capture it in their own words. And this is what resulted in what was a mini competition among those who were willing to take part. At this point is optional, but going forward is actually mandatory for everybody here to be part of the monthly write-ups that we're going to do. You can be the best TV presenter or radio presenter or whatever. When years have passed and they want to remember you, is what you write that people remember you for. So you better learn how to do the writing properly, because it's, again, when you write, you have the opportunity to be corrected, and then you learn in the process. So that's why we're doing what we are doing.
Out of the 10 articles submitted, 6 were selected. The selected articles included Ni Latte Latte's Ghana's Sights and Sounds Told in Stories, Charles Ousukumi's No Words to Describe Fun at 2023 Back to Your Village Food Bazaar, and Kennedy Chumesi's Make It Ghana, a direct effort to rethink my heritage. The others were Yal Minta's Make It Ghana, a legacy and heritage worth celebrating, Caleb Kuda's City TV, City FM, unrelenting leadership in making it Ghana, and Umaru Sanda Amadu's Hosts on Wheels, My Experience on the Heritage Caravan. At the end of the contest, Umaru Sanda Amadu's compelling piece titled Hosts on Wheels, My Experience on the Heritage Caravan was selected as the most engaging content. For his prize, he received a cash amount of 1,000 Ghana cedis. Announcing the winner to the City News team, Head of News at City FM and City TV, Vivian Kailoko, congratulated Umaru Sanda Madu and charged his colleagues to cultivate the habit of writing.
We want to say congratulations for the wonderful piece you wrote about the Heritage Caravan and this mini first competition we've done to improve. I think MD has said it all. I always say that when you're doing things, don't take it as a tax. Take it as something you want to do from your heart, so you enjoy it. It makes it easier for everybody. So for writing that wonderful piece, just your experience on the Heritage Caravan, which the piece we all read, we laughed throughout. It was a nice one. Of course, you brought your nice writing skills there. So we want to give you this, thank you. This 1,000 Ghana cedis. So 1,000 Ghana cedis. Well done.
After receiving his 1,000 cedis cash prize, Umaru Sanda Amadu expressed his joy and the inspiration behind his article.
Being on the Heritage Caravan is a life experience. I love to travel. Having been a retired herdsman, walking is my thing, but traveling is something else, you know. And to travel Ghana within 7 days and to play the role of a host or a hostess, if you like, on a bus. When they say you're going to be bus captain, I had no idea what that was. Boy, was it exciting. Was it hellish? Was it fun? It's a potpourri of everything, and I think it was exciting. So when Vivian said, I want you to write, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to write what I saw, right? That should be pretty easy. But of course, writing, and again, because we are a news team, just a few words. You have to believe in what you're writing to get it out there. You can't just type. And again, don't feel burdened to write. If you feel, oh, they say I should write, so I'm writing, you write nonsense. That task Vivian asked me to do, at night, around midnight, that was when I just switched on the laptop. I tried to remember a lot of the things that happened just to try and connect them in my mind. So within 12 a.m. and 4 a.m., before we start our fast, I just started to type. And when I typed it, I sent it to her. I sent it to her to look at it before we eventually published. I didn't do a lot of work. I was just supposed to account what I saw on the trip. But again, how you write it, how you engage your audience is what you need to do. And I've learned that here, and I'm happy and I'm excited.
I want to say congratulations to Umaru Sanda Amadu and the others who also took the challenge to write Charles Owusu-Komi, Caleb Kuda, Yao Minta, Ni Latte, Kennedy Chumesi. But the man, the Umaru has to be myself.
I mean, Philip, this is a great initiative by our news leadership here. No two ways about that. I mean, Sanda, what a year has been for him. Winning this, of course, not too long ago, was honored by the president for his role in the COVID-19 fight together with the other group, Senor Jose's people. So great initiative for San. Great. I mean, it's some really good news for him. Like I've said, it's been a good year for him. Only that he knows that if I submitted my article in time,
you would have won.
I would have won.
Next year, you should write the article and win.
I mean, Philip, yeah. I mean, my particular favorite was Caleb's article, CTFM, CTTV showing unrelenting leadership. Yeah. I mean, that was one I particularly enjoyed as well, together with Sanders' own. So, congratulations to the whole team. I mean, all of those who put, their articles. I think it was really.
So the articles are online, citynewsroom.com. You should make it a point to read it and enjoy yourselves as well. This is how we end today's edition of CNR Extra here on City TV. My name is Philip Nilacha. I did this with Jude Mensa Banka. Many thanks for your time as always, and keep watching City TV.
Sure say your hospital go OP if you hear the final way I get for your dog.
I still have your underwear in my office drawer.
I could never imagine you would end up being my stepmother.
Anybody with the capacity to give you great joy can also bring you insufferable pain.